Deep section carbon fibre wheel sets. Why are they so popular on the road and now even in the gravel scene? It's because they're aerodynamic. They're going to save you power over the conventional shape as we've always known the rims, smaller profile, sort of a box section wheel. These have been around for decades. Performance is probably the single most important factor when considering a wheel set. How comfortable they are. Are they lightweight enough? Are they stable in crosswinds? And how aerodynamic are they? Now, just like your bike frame, the stiffer the wheel, the more power transfer you're going to get. But you're also going to transfer more road vibration through stiffer wheels and a stiffer frame. So you're going to sacrifice comfort. So you've got to get the happy medium there. If you transfer more road vibration, it's going to increase your fatigue and you become less efficient over time. So it's important not to have an overly stiff wheel. A disc wheel is an example of a very stiff wheel. It's like having the rim extended all the way to the hub flange. It's very efficient in your power transfer, but it'll also transfer a lot of vibration from the surface up to your frame and ultimately to you. So it might be good for smooth surface, say time trialing, track racing and triathlons, but not so good for general riding, especially on rougher surfaces. In the next couple of years, it's going to be difficult to find a good selection of tyres for 25 and especially 23 section tyres, the narrower ones. Everything's going wider. And why are we going wider? Two main reasons. Excuse my terrible writing. Comfort. Okay, so we've got two tyres, a wider one and a narrower tyre. The wider tyre has a larger bag, so this whole area here is larger than in the narrower tyre. Therefore, it contains more volume of air, but requires less pressure overall than a narrower tyre. So you've got more suspension with a wider tyre than a narrower one on a rough surface. Therefore, the wider tyre on a rough surface is faster than a narrower tyre. So let's write the pressure, 75 psi, and let's say we have to put 95. Therefore, the road shock from a rough surface is going to be absorbed more readily with a wider tyre and a lower pressure than a narrower tyre with a higher pressure. And the rougher the road surface, the faster the wider tyre becomes over the narrow. And the second reason, grip. The wider tyre has a larger contact patch than the narrow tyre. So for instance, this part of the tyre might contact the road, so therefore the contact patch on the road is going to be like that. The narrow tyre is only going to contact the road that much, so the contact will be sort of that shape. So you've got more of the tyre on the road at any one time than a narrower tyre. So the wider tyre is more stable in cornering and in wet conditions. Much better. Weight. We all want our wheels to be as light as possible, right? Without compromising performance, of course. Factors that affect weight is, first of all, the rim profile, how deep it is. This one here is a 70, so generally it's going to be heavier than this one, which is a 50. Spokes, you can get carbon fibre spokes, which are lighter than steel spokes. Hubs, some hubs are lighter than others. And of course, on the outside here, your tyres and tubes, you can get lighter tyres and tubes. Stability. Now with crosswinds, a deeper profile rim is going to be more affected by crosswinds than a shallower profile rim. And that applies mostly to your front wheel, the back wheel not so much. Also, a heavier rider is more stable than a lighter rider. He has his weight to hold down the bike more, he can keep his speed more constant and put more power in. So if you're a lighter rider, I would err not on a deepest profile rim, but on the side of a shallower one if you're riding in really windy conditions. Aerodynamics. Now beware, this is where sellers can drop that word on you, knowing full well that you don't have access to be able to test their claims. For instance, they might say 3% more aerodynamic than last year's model, but you can't test that, can you? So you might be worried by their figures and their data sheets thinking these wheels are going to make me faster, or are they? Let's draw our tyre and say this is a 28C tyre, and now we need a rim to match the 28C tyre. What sort of width rim do we need? Well, if we go too narrow, say we go a narrow rim like this, then your tyre in effect is going to have to be bulging inwards, isn't it, to fit? So you're going to get this effect. So your tyre is going to bulge like that, a bit like an ice cream cone. down there, and here it squashes in, then you've got the rim like that. And your airflow coming here is going to go over, in here a bit and out again, like here, and it's going to cause a disturbance, a turbulence in here. A bit like that with our airflow. In fact, it comes back here nicely because we want a nice aero rim. So we've got our nice aero rim, but the fitting's not quite as aero as we want it to be. So what do we have to do to our rim to make it more aerodynamic? Let's draw our 28C tyre again. This time we're going to go for a wider rim. So let's make the width of the rim 28 and the bag of the tyre at maximum is 28 as well. Therefore there's no coming in like that. So when we get our wind coming that way, our airflow, it goes over nicely like that and out the back. So there's no disturbance in the airflow along here like in that one. So we need a nicer rim. We need a rim that's 28 to match a 28 tyre. If you've got a 32C tyre, then go for an even wider rim, say a 32. And this is called aerodynamic matching. So the tyre is matching the rim for maximum aerodynamics. So for pretty much ordinary road riding, you might like 28C tyres. And for really rough riding, like they do in Paris-Roubaix, you might go up to say 32 or 34. So because of that tyre match, you need to match your rim accordingly. Say the area where you ride, the roads are mostly quite rough and you want to go 32 for more comfort, then you need to go for a slightly wider rim, 32 rim. Now this measurement 32 on the rim is on the outside of the rim, not the inside, because remember you've got hooks, clincher, just say clincher rims, not hookless. Even if it was hookless, it'd still be the outside. So the inside measurement might be 26 or 24 or 23. So it's the outside of the tyre that needs to match the outside of the rim. So all this is why wider tyres are becoming the norm for our road riding now. Of course, aerodynamics is not just about the wheel, it's about the bike rider on the bike on those wheels. So that presents complex airflows and pressures, which is much more important than just the wheel aerodynamics. Now it's good that some companies work their wheels in conjunction with the frame set, or vice versa, frame set in conjunction with the wheels to get maximum aerodynamics. For instance, they might have a front wheel that has a smaller profile, but the section, the width, is wider. That's the front wheel, and the back wheel is the opposite. It'll be deeper in the profile and skinnier in the section. Next is a trend toward wider tyres for more comfort and more grip on the road for the same rolling resistance as a narrow tyre. So here's the way things used to be, narrower tyre and a narrower rim, and this is the way things are going with a wider tyre and a wider rim. So to accommodate the wider tyre, you need a wider rim. So here's our old 23 to 25C tyre. What's the ideal wide size now? It's 28 to 34C. So that's the size we're aiming for on our road bikes today.
28s, yeah.
Yeah, you're running 28s?
Yeah.
Ah, cool. So are they better than 25s or 23s or?
It's a softer ride. It's definitely a softer, more enjoyable ride, especially over rough roads.
Put more pressure on? I haven't got
No, I've only got 75.
75? Yeah.
I just, around Nettle Hill and Sawpit, just that softer ride.
Yeah.
Because the roads are so rough, it definitely is beneficial.
Too is if you're more comfortable on your bike, you'll actually feel fresher.
Yep.
Yeah.
Other real world conditions to take into account are the sort of terrain you ride. If you're riding mostly flat conditions with smooth roads, absolutely you can use a deeper profile rim to be more aerodynamic. However, if you're riding hilly conditions, you'll need lighter wheels, and you'll get that with a smaller profile rim. And another thing, we also don't ride in a dead straight line all the time through the whole ride, do we? We always turn. And if you're turning quite a bit, then even if the direction of the wind is in one direction, as you turn, then effectively the yaw angle is changing as well. So there's so much change in the yaw angle at all times. So there's no getting out of it really. A deeper profile rim is more affected by side winds and swirling winds than a shallower profile rim. However, if you've got the predictable wind, say even in an indoor velodrome or a time trial on a non-windy day when you're going to have pretty much direct headwind all the way, then a deeper section rim, or sorry, a deeper profile rim is going to be faster than a shallower profile rim. And another thing, a lot of these aerodynamic test charts are done at high velocity wind speeds. So for instance, a deep section rim may be faster at 50 k's an hour, but that same rim might be slower than this rim, a smaller profile rim, at 30 k's an hour. So this would be the faster wheel than the deeper profile. Serviceability. Is the clutch and hub easy to take apart, or do you need special tools to do so? And are the parts inside readily available? The bearings inside, are they a common size or are they an awkward size hard to find? The spoke nipples, are they exposed so it's easy to adjust with a simple tool, or are they concealed where you need special tools to get in to adjust them and to replace spokes if you need to? Maybe you go to a bike shop to get your wheels fixed in that case, but if they are awkward to get to and need special tools, chances are it's going to take more time to fix and they're going to charge you more as well. Tyre fitting. How easy is it to remove and reinstall a tyre? Do you need to sit there with 3, 4, 5 tyre levers trying to get a tyre on? Is it that difficult? Some rims really are. You don't want to be stuck on the side of the road miles away from home and not being able to put your tyre on and off. And even if you did get it on and off, you might damage the tube. So you don't want a rim where the tyre's hard to get on and off. What are the bearings like? They're nice and silky smooth, but only for 500 to 1,000 kilometres. Then they start getting rough and gritty for the rest of their life. That's no good, it's sucking your power. If that happens, you've got cheap bearings, replace them with at least half decent quality bearings that'll last a lot longer. Do your wheels go out of true? Quite often, either this way or even up and down. It's not necessarily the fault of the rim itself, it's quite often the spoke tension which comes loose. That all points to poor quality wheel building and quality control. Do the rims scratch or mark easily? That can just be an aesthetic thing or it can be a serious thing. If it's a cheap carbon fibre layup, the resin inside can be a low grade quality one. That means it can be affected by the UV and deterioration will happen quickly. Then you'll have a collapse of your carbon fibre rim. Clutch. Do you like a noisy clutch or a quieter clutch? Do you like a clutch that buzzes away or one that just goes clickety clickety click? Maybe it doesn't really worry you either way. Are other riders you know happy with their wheel set? Probably you know some riders in your bunch that you ride with that have deep profile rims. How long have they been riding them? Short term or long term? Long term opinion holds more value than short term. One rider might have a set of carbon wheels, but has he ridden any other brand of carbon wheels to compare them to? Envy, Hunt, Bontrager, Campagnolo, DT Swiss, Fast Sport, Rolf, Ican, Lightweight, Shimano, Mavic, Yolio, Reynolds, and quite a few others. So after all these years of riding many different carbon wheel sets, which wheel set would I recommend as the best wheel set that I've ever come across for your value for money? It's these. Elite Wheels Drive 50D. That's 50mm profile. Unlike some reviewers who'll grab a new set of wheels, put them on their bike, and go for a couple of rides and then draw conclusions from there and let you know all about it. Well, that's fair enough, but it's not good enough really. These wheels here, I've done over 4,500 kilometres myself personally on them. And this rider, this is not my bike, has done over 16,000. So that's pretty much well over 20,000 kilometres of riding on these wheels. That's what I call a test, and it's definitely a long term. Now these wheels have done a lot of bunch riding, rough country roads, uphill, down dale and twisty turnies, and in lots of windy conditions. We live down here on the south coast of South Australia, windy as. Now the way a wheel performs is from the outside in, so from the tyre, then the tube, and then the rim. So your tyre is most important and then your tube. In fact, you can put a decent tyre and lightweight tubes, say TPU tubes, on any wheel set and it'll improve the performance. Then of course the rim. So how do these rims get such good performance? It's the size, 50mm, it's not too big, not too small. The shape, it's got that U shape to it, which is perfect, which is what they're all going to today. And they're extremely light. They're only 1,300 grams for a pair. That makes them in hill climbing territory for lightweight. And the way they achieve this with the carbon fibre is they use a combination of 700 and 800 carbon fibre, and it's Japanese carbon fibre. It's not Chinese carbon, it's a higher quality carbon fibre. So as well as having the 50mm profile depth of the rim, which is ideal for all-round riding, the inside width of the rim is 21 and the outside width is 28. That makes it absolutely perfect to make it aero match with 28mm tyres. And to top it off, these wheels have carbon fibre blade spokes. So that gives them a great combination with all those characteristics to put them in the Goldilocks category. That means they're the ideal setup for all-round performance on the road. Now let's have a closer look at these wheels. Now these wheels got a bit of dirt and dust on them because the bike hasn't been clean. I just brought it as it was straight to the workshop here to show you. So we can show you everything about it, all the scratches and everything. So let's have a look. Now first of all, we've got crossing spokes. If you can see it on here, we've got radial spokes on the non-drive on the front, and we've got crossed spokes on the disc brake side. And that's great, that's what you need, because that's where your stress is when you put your brakes on. You need a little bit more strength on this side of the wheel. On the rear wheel, you've got crossing on both sides, both on the clutch side, of course, where you put your power on, so you need a bit more strength. And they're also crossed, can't see it there, they're also crossed there on the disc brake rotor side as well. So that's excellent, good, they've done their homework there. So that makes these wheels strong enough to cope with the stresses from the road and the rider. Now we'll just have a look for serviceability, how easy it is to service these wheels. Pull the clutch apart, the free hub body just falls straight off. So you can see it pulls apart really easy by hand, and you can see it's got a 4-pole clutch. All 4 of these poles engage all at once, so they all click at the same time. That means you get full engagement all at one time, and also means that the stresses are evenly spaced all the way around at even points on the clutch ring. The bearings, both in the free hub and in the hub itself, on both sides, although I'd have to take the rotor off to show you that one, but believe you me, they're the same size in the hub. So easy to replace as well, because they're easily obtainable. They're not an obscure size, it's just a common size. Having a look at the grease inside the clutch, you can see there, when I first got the wheels, I cleaned it out and put some marine grease in there. Not too much, of course. And you can see the marine grease is blue. I'll give you a close-up. The colour of that is still blue. Up to 20,000 kilometres, it's still blue. So that means it's very low clutch wear at all, because when you get something that wears a lot, little bits of metal will start to discolour the grease, go black. So that hasn't happened. And it also indicates very little water and dirt ingress through the seals to get inside. So that's excellent. Just put it all back together. So just fill the bearings. The back wheel has got four bearings. Yeah, still excellent. There's a teeny bit of roughness there, very, very small amount. No, that's fine. And the front one, can't feel a thing. Yeah, it's buttery smooth, beautiful, because it's only 2 bearings in the front wheel. So if your hubs, the bearings, are nice and smooth after 20,000 kilometres plus, then you must have good bearings and good seals, not cheap bearings. Actually, these are ceramic bearings. Just to show you one thing, how smooth they are. There's the valve here, and if I just hold it, so the wheel will rock back and forth now until the valve's at the bottom. And the valve's not overly heavy, believe me. These are really, really good bearings in these wheels. So hybrid ceramic bearings, that means the balls themselves, the round balls, are ceramic, and the races, the inside and outside races, are steel, which is actually good. You don't want full ceramic bearings in hubs. Excellent. Also, after 20,000 kilometres of riding, nothing has broken on these wheels, and there's no squeaks, creaks or groans, so that's excellent. I'll just show you how good these wheels are also in their trueness on a jig. About 0.25 to 0.3 of a millimetre. Having a look at the radial true without taking the tire and tube off. Excellent. Not the sort of thing you want to see in your GP 5000 tyre, is it? Well, the wheels are alright, it's just the tyre needs replacing probably soon. Let's put in the front wheel. About 0.3 millimeters. And the radial true. I mean, the tyre deviates more than the rim. The tyre is bumpier than the rim. Now that is what I'm talking about. How many wheel sets do you know out there? Wheels that have had 20,000 kilometres plus on them and are still less than, what, half a millimetre deviation. That is excellent. Let's have a look at scratches on the rim, and you're probably thinking, oh, of course there's going to be some scratches on the rim after 20,000 Ks. Well, yep, but you've got to watch out with scratches on carbon fibre because, don't know if you know it, but if you have raw carbon fibre that's without the resin, it acts like a cloth. Like a cloth. If you put water on it, it's going to be absorbed and it spreads along the fibres, doesn't it? And what's that? Capillary action. It's the same with carbon fibre, it's a cloth. So if you get a scratch and there's no resin underneath, you've just got the carbon fibre, then you're going to get water travels, unless of course you're riding in dry conditions all the time, water's going to travel in your carbon fibre. Now the reason I say that is because a lot of cheap carbon fibre has a low amount of resin in, or a lower quality of resin. So if you get scratches on your rim, be careful, you might need to patch them up. In fact, I would definitely patch them up with a bit of clear nail polish, or maybe black nail polish if your rims are all black, but clear nail polish is good. A good quality nail polish, and that way it'll seal it up, because you don't want water getting in through that scratch to your carbon fibre. Does that make sense? Just get a microfiber cloth and just go over it, because polish will fill in any scratches anyway. So this is not a proper clean, it's just a quick wipe over, and we'll have a look at the surfaces. It's still got that nice gloss to them. Really nice and glossy. There's a mark there. I'll just see what that is. See, that comes off. That comes off. Now I've got my dirty fingerprints on there. What's that on the D? Oh, that's just part of the... See, there's some just there and there. Probably when they got a flat tyre at some stage, you might have hit something. So going around for the rest. Honestly, these rims, really nice. If you like that crushed velvet, look, what's that? No, that's a bit of sand on there. See, that's what I mean, there's excellent. Here's some marks. Okay, again, same thing, been damaged. So you expect that. Mostly just dirt, really. What's that one up there? And again, that comes off. Yep, that comes off. And I've smudged it now. Smudged it. As you give it a rub again, and it comes back beautiful. Wheel, same thing, beautiful and shiny. Going quick. What's that? What's that? That's just a bit of dirt again. Dirt. Yeah. Oh, there we go, there's a mark. But again, it could be a stone chip. So yeah, so that's like a stone chip. Well, that's just dirt and dust. Dirt and dust. Yeah, mostly dirt and dust. Excellent. I mean, yeah, that's dirt. So there you go, pretty good for that distance that these wheels have done, and more scratches on the back than the front. That's to be expected, of course. I don't think those scratches are worth worrying about putting nail polish on yet. They're not that deep. What do you think of the finish? Still highly gloss, still nice and shiny. I reckon a bit of polish on them. Don't forget you can polish your rims. You can do that now because you don't have rim brakes, you don't have pads. So you can polish these up with a bit of furniture polish. Well, not furniture polish, use a car wax polish is good, and that'll keep them nice and shiny. Look at that, beautiful and shiny. I love that high gloss. Now, do you like the marble effect on the rims, on the carbon fibre? Now I'm saying that because these wheels, the 50Ds, don't come in black. They only come in that marble effect. Same with the hubs, they only come in black. This one's the silver, these are the early ones, but they only come in black now. The clutch. Now that's 36 points of engagement, so 36 clicks per revolution. So it's not overly loud and it's not overly soft. It's about medium. Of course, you can quieten it down or make it louder however you want, depending on what lube and how you lube the hub. And being a pole clutch, you can't change that. It's not like the DT Swiss where you can change the points of engagement. You can't change these. So it's as it is. This is how they are. How about a fast spin? How about other riders? Are they happy with these Elite drive wheels? I myself, speaking for the 4,500 Ks I did on these wheels, nothing to complain about at all. Maybe only that they don't come in plain black, that's all. They only have the marble effect. It's about the only thing I could say about these wheels well, it's not even a negative, is it? Other than that, beautiful wheels, really nice. The current rider who's done 16,000 kilometers on his wheels loves these wheels. In fact, they love them so much that the person bought them from me. So they're no longer my wheels. I've actually borrowed them for this video. Another way of finding out for yourself what other riders think about Elite wheels is have a look on reviews and forums, particularly forums, because people tend to be a bit more honest on there, gives the negatives and the positives rather than just the positives. They're not selling wheels, they want to give their honest opinions. So have a look at forums and you'll be very surprised. There's really good write-ups on Elite wheels. I like the way these wheels respond when you put the power down, very zippy. Like for instance, if you're riding in a bunch and you see a breakaway close up, maybe 4 or 5, maybe 10 riders in front. So you come out and you want to catch them. You can make that quick acceleration and catch onto the tail end of that bunch, no problem. I've done that quite a few times. So zippy and power transfer, really, really good as well. In saying that, what it actually suggests is that the rim is very strong, but light at the same time. Comfort, I'll give them a 10 out of 10. They're extremely comfortable to ride over all terrain. Zippy and transfer of power, 9 out of 10. For hill climbing, of course, you want lightweight. Give them 9.5 out of 10 because they're extremely light for the 50mm section that they are. Aerodynamics, 9 out of 10. Excellent for aerodynamics. And quietness, 10 out of 10. They're actually a very quiet wheel to ride, mostly because of the carbon spokes. They deaden the sound. So we've gone through quite a lot of information in this video about deep profile carbon wheel sets, and we've had a really close look at these Elite drive wheels. I also did an unbox, review and test on these wheels about a year ago, and at the end of the video I gave you a coupon, OzCycle15. Now that still applies to any of the wheel sets on the Elite website. So type it in when you go and purchase your wheels, type it into the little box, the coupon box, and that'll give you 10% discount off of any of the wheels. Warranty and crash replacement. Elite wheels give you 3 years warranty on any of their wheels or spokes or nipples or hubs or rims, and if you claim on an older model then it's automatically upgraded to the latest equivalent. The crash replacement program, if at any time during the 3 years you have an accident and need to replace either a wheel, rim or spoke or hub, you'll get it at 30% off the list price. And they also have 19 dealers worldwide to help you at any time with issues with your Elite wheels. Well, this is my gravel bike. Also dirty and unclean. And guess what wheels it's got in there? Elite drive. Yep, they also make gravel wheels. Just the same section, 50mm, just a little bit wider for your gravel tyres, wide tyres. Yep, nice.